Hi, welcome back to the Lifestyle Show with me, Anthony Jordan. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, when I was doing all the running around, no more of that, I did promise that you will catch a bit of a feature where Pam and myself are actually down at the Capital City Academy for a Father's Day event organised by David and Louis. They've been doing it for a few years now. It was a fantastic event, and props to Pam. She caught all the interviews, including the very special guest, Mr. Neville Lawrence, father to the murdered teen Stephen Lawrence from many years ago, but he was there, really got involved in the project as well, which is really nice to see. Gave a bit of encouragement on the day. So let me not waste any more time. Here's Pam down at the Capital City Academy for the Father's Day event. Enjoy.
We are here at King Edward's Park. This is in the northwest of London. We are here to gather and respect the figures of fathers with their children, but also in memorial of my daughter's young friend who tragically stabbed to death outside the schools of the Academy, City Academy in northwest London. But we're celebrating life, and we are celebrating the fact that fathers have such an important role in their children's lives, and it is Father's Day, so after all, why can't we do this? I have a prolific figure of a father, if you will, Neville Lawrence, father of Stephen Lawrence, who was here, and he's dedicated his time to come out here and to just have a presence here. Mr. Lawrence, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's kind of memorial. We're talking about death, but we're talking about life too, and we're talking about fathers. It's all mixed in. Yeah. But the importance of being here, you felt you had to do this. Why, sir?
Why? Because we know that there's a problem with the youngsters nowadays. And one of the main problems is that these youngsters feel that they got nobody who cares about them. Fortunately for us, the guy who's put this on is part of our group that we formed to try and look into the reason why these youngsters are carrying knives and try to find ways, if possible, to try and stem the tide of this knife crime situation out there on the street. So getting these youngsters together to play football, fathers to accompany their fathers, because some of the problems, I think, the issue is some of these youngsters got no father. And so by being here with these kids today, it gives them a chance to see how you react to family.
It's so real, but you know, fathers could also easily say, to be honest with you, Mr. Lawrence, that they try to keep in touch. Sometimes the mothers, the wives, cut them away from it. Yeah. This is why we've got groups like this trying to give power to fathers who do want to be in control, sometimes being blocked.
Well, yesterday we had that conversation with some of the fathers, and we said to the fathers that you are responsible for your child, no matter what. And if your partner or your wife decides she wants to cut you out of the child's life, which is a disaster, you've got to find ways to stay in touch with your children. Even if you're not living with your children, you should find ways to be a part of that child's life, because you've got that responsibility. So come what may, you've got to find that way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the law is changing. I find the law is changing for fathers as well. There's paternity laws going on as well, with fathers getting involved. But, you know, on a level with, when it comes to the African Caribbean community, we are deemed that the males do not pay enough attention to their children. How are we going to still try and block that with society as they see as the male black men? The black men just, they're not there.
Well, yes, I understand what you're saying, but just imagine you have a child growing up who desperately want the father to be there, part of their lives, and the female, who is also the mother, decide not to let that child be a part of the child's life. How do you solve that problem? Mm-hmm. It's a very, very hard problem to solve. Mm-hmm. And as I said to the fathers yesterday when I spoke to them, no matter what, if your spouse, your partner, whosoever, try and stop you from being part of your child's life, if it even means going to court to make sure
for real
that you're involved with your child, go to court and do it. Don't just walk away and say that I'm tired of the woman because she's stopping me from being, but because you're responsible for that child.
Right. That's right. I'm so glad you said that.
That's the argument I used last night, and a lot of them agreed with it.
Of course.
Yeah.
But many of the fathers feel scared to go to courts, courts of law and solicitors and that. And this is the power they need. They need to know that they do have rights.
Well, if you are looking after your child, if you're paying your dues, if you're supposed to give something towards bringing up your child, the ones who are saying that they're afraid to go to court, maybe the ones who are not giving money towards the bringing up of their child. A lot of these men sometimes have children and don't be a part of that child's life until the child grow up and have something to show, like money-wise or something, and all of our some get into some big position where all of a sudden that's my son.
Show up. Yeah.
So you can't do that. If you haven't put in and him put into the child's life, you shouldn't want to reap any benefit from it.
That's right. When we think about Stephen and we think about, the tragic way that he died, it's also not just about knife crime, it's racist. It was a racial situation. What would you then say to young boys out there who still feel that they need to carry knives in case they get up to that situation, so they feel they need to carry knives?
When I do speak to these guys, I remind them, you carry that knife. You're in a problem, a fight or something with another individual. That person take the knife that you're carrying to protect yourself and then use it to kill you. So in fact, you're carrying a weapon to kill yourself. So there must be other ways. Join a karate club, kickboxing club, some individual thing where you can defend yourself without a knife. There are all these different things out there you can use to defend yourself without a knife, because that knife might be your own downfall. So that's why I said to them when I talk to them. Whether they're listening or not, I don't know.
I think they do.
Yeah.
I do believe, even if you get one or two, we know this, Mr. We know that it gets through. But can I just say on the... thinking about Stephen and everything that he stood for, he was going for to be an architect and what have you, and he was so dedicated to that. What would you then give the youngsters today to veer themselves into a proper career to try and get themselves somewhere?
I'm glad that you asked that. One of the most, thing that made me so proud the other day when you had the royal wedding was that 19-year-old boy playing at a wedding. And I'm saying to them out there, look at that. Exactly. Try and make yourself be one of that. Find some ways, if you're a cricketer or you're a musician, study that. Forget the crimes and being with bad company. Dedicate yourself to something to make yourself a man. Yes. Now that boy performed at that wedding. He's made it
worldwide
for life.
International.
Have we ever seen a black person performing at a world wedding? So use that as something to focus on and drop the knife and go out and do something. This man who is doing this today, I applaud him. I applaud him because some of these guys that's here today, they may be out on the street doing something bad, but they're here playing football, playing games, all kind of things. And this is some of the things that we need to do for ourselves. We can't wait for people to do it for us. This is our generation. And these people who are in power, when they see us killing ourselves out there, they're just laughing. It's got nothing to do with them. If they're killing themselves, let them kill themselves. And that's one of the things they have to think about. The fact that it's the next generation. So if they kill themselves, who's going to take over from us? All right?
Neville, thank you ever so much.
Okay then.
Thank you. And one last word, if you want to give one last word to the we're going to put this on Ben Television, this is going on Facebook, this is going on YouTube, this is going to be worldwide. One last piece of advice. I know you said a lot, but if you want to do a line on it, one last word.
The one last word I like to say to them before I go. We've now got a Stephen Lawrence Day. That's been, the government has decided to give us a Stephen Lawrence Day. Use that day to make yourself a better person.
What? Can you give us the date of that?
the 22nd of April every year is a Stephen Lawrence Day. Before you carry out your knife, remember that and use that as something to aim for. Okay? Right. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Thank you.